Hello, class. Welcome to Theology 525, where over the next 8 weeks we're going to focus in on the doctrine of God, of humanity, of sin, of angels, and the doctrine of Scripture. That will be the focus for this 8-week course, and so that hopefully by the end of this course you will have a solid grasp of these things, a biblical foundation, a theological foundation in your life as you serve the Lord. A little bit about myself. So I am Dr. Nathan Herman, as I said. I have been pastoring the Thurman Baptist Church for about 10 years now, which is in the Adirondack Mountains of upstate New York. Most people, they hear you're from New York, they assume you're from New York City, but where I live is very much not the city. I live in a town where there are no gas stations, there are no businesses of any kind. It's just a wooded area. There are some people who live down the street a ways and such, but there's really no town, so to speak. So anyway, I've been pastoring here for about 10 years. I'm married to my wife Amber, and we have one son who's 2.5 years old, and just an extraordinary little boy. A little bit about this course. First of all, I would say, as we look into these doctrines, and as you go through the various assignments, whether it's a quiz, whether it's an essay that you have to write, or a discussion, when you do these assignments, you need to plan ahead. You need to plan wisely. You need to manage your time well, so that way when you're writing an essay or when you're doing a journal critique, when you have to critique an academic journal, that you're not cramming the assignment in to a short period of time. If you want to do well on the assignment, then you need to plan well. And I would also highly recommend that if you're going to submit an essay, if you're going to submit a discussion or a journal critique, write out your assignment and then read your assignment carefully. Okay? Proofread it. Then when you're done with that, I would recommend that you do it again. You proofread it again. And even if you're a great writer, every time you proofread one of your works, almost every time you're going to find things that need to be fixed. You missed a comma, you missed an apostrophe, you misspelled a word. So I'd recommend proofreading your work. And then I would also recommend, if you have somebody that's a friend of yours or in your family who's good with grammar, good at English, have them proofread it. It's good to proofread your own work, but you can't proofread your own work as objectively as someone else can do so. Because they're not reading and thinking in their minds what's coming next. They don't know what to expect, so they're much more objective in their proofreading, and they can find more mistakes. So that's what I would recommend. I would also like to give a note about plagiarism. Please do not plagiarize. Familiarize yourself with the plagiarism guidelines. Liberty has some resources that can be found on plagiarism at the Writing Center, and if you need to reach out to the Writing Center, you're able to do that as a Liberty student, and they will work with you if you're not sure what plagiarism is. At this point, this is a master's level course. You should all be familiar with plagiarism. You should know what that is, but basically, don't copy someone else's work. Don't use someone else's ideas, someone else's thoughts, and then present them as your own. So you need to cite your work, and you need to footnote your work, and do that well. So if you're not familiar with what that is, I would say reach out to the Writing Center. I will be sending out an email at some point here with some guidelines as to what plagiarism is, or an announcement on your class page. But stay away from plagiarism. All right, just to kind of wrap up here, I do pray that through this course that you would grow. My prayer primarily is that you would grow in two ways. This is a master's level course, so we want you to be challenged intellectually. We want you to grow in your mind. So growing intellectually, but also we want you to grow spiritually. We want you to grow more and more into the image of Jesus Christ. So as we study these theological truths, this is not just ivory tower academic stuff. All right, this is about the God that we worship. This is about the God that we serve. And so let's grow academically, and then pray also that we would grow spiritually. Anyway, I hope that you have a great class. I hope these 8 weeks prove to be beneficial for you. And God bless, and do good work. Press on through these 8 weeks.